API Conference, Elevating API Literacy.
My name is Ridwan Kasim. I work as a back-end engineer with Seamless HR, and I'll be talking to us about ensuring API compliance, best practices, and strategies. So before I go into details, we'll be looking at meaning of API compliance, why it is important, why do I need to ensure that my API is compliant. Then I will be looking at practices that we need to adopt as an engineer, most especially the backend guys, because they are the ones that craft out these APIs. So they need to understand some of these things that they need to imbibe while building their APIs. Okay, yeah. So like I said, we'll be looking at meaning of API compliance, then why API compliance, and the strategies that you need to adopt as an engineer. So these are a set of regulations that you need to, for a company's API, they need to adhere to, and governance protocols too. So your API cannot be out there without abiding by these rules, like GDPR, for instance, and PCI DSS, that's Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. If you are dealing with payment-related stuff like fintechs, right? So we process cards, users' information, financial information generally, right? So they need to abide by all of these things. So that's the essence of what we are talking about when we are saying API compliance, right? So we'll look at, I have a simple definition here. So a set of regulations for ensuring that any company's API adhere to specific security and governance protocols. These are laid down by these regulatory bodies, like Emmanuel mentioned earlier. He mentioned GDPR, ISO, I also mentioned PCI, and the likes. So while you are meant to build your API, that time when you push that deploy button, there is someone somewhere waiting for their projects that they can explore and exploit. You might be lucky to get that good guy who can look at the vulnerabilities and report it back to you for you to be able to push a security fix and patches, right? But on the other side, if it gets to the hand of the bad guys, we know what that means. So let me use that street language, support law, right? So they will just do whatever they want to do with it, and that's it. So these are the reasons why we need to ensure that our APIs, they are compliant. So we'll move on to importance of API compliance. I have a couple of items here, like data security, regulatory fines, partnering with confidence, reputation damage, competitive advantage. So let's look at data security, for instance, now. When, as a company, you process user information, you accept your information, keep it, right? You won't want just anybody to have access to this information. At least, it's not as if that everything is 100% secured. You get what I mean? But at least make it in a way that a newbie, not every just John and Jane, sorry if you are bearing John or Jane, can access this data easily. At least make them go through some stress. That's the essence of you adhering to compliance. Yeah, you're laughing. That's the truth, actually. Just like, let's say you close this door. After leaving your house, you close the door, shut the gate, and all of those things, right? It doesn't mean that someone who wants to break in won't be able to. But don't make it easy for them to just push the door like this, and it's open, and the person will just have access to your valuables. At least, let the person probably use an hammer. I want to try and break your door. That way you can make noise for your neighbors or alert the neighbors. Somebody will come in and interrupt their operation. So that's exactly why what we are talking about, data security. Protect your user information as much as you can. Otherwise, there's no way you can even, if, let's say NDPR, for instance, they came for audit and realized that, oh, this data you are collecting, how are you securing it? You won't be able to operate. And in this country that we understand when governments are after you, right? they can actually go any length and make sure that you don't operate if you don't comply to some of these policies. So let's look at regulatory fines. So for instance now, we all live in, majority of us, we live in Lagos, right? Once the public, the driver, as they're approaching the road, whenever they see any man on yellow and maroon, the next thing they will say is that, hey, guy, drag your belt. Even though the seat belt is not functional, right? They will still try to tell you to drag it and pretend as if it is working, right? And the reason they are doing this is because if that guy stops them, you will have to pay. Somehow, you might not even probably pay the official fee or something like that. But at least you will pay that guy that caught you on that road. You have to beg or just give him some token. So that's what happens to when it comes to companies that ship out their products. If they are not compliant, these guys will come for you. You will pay. And I don't think anybody will want to, at least the money you are supposed to spend on something, probably promoting your products, your resources, and all of this infrastructure and things like that. You won't want to be paying fines when you can actually do the work. Do you get? So partnering with confidence. I will use this example. We all know piggy vest, right? Majority of us, we use them. Why? We can see that these guys, they observe this compliance and these policies. I can put my money there. You can also put your money there because you have this level of confidence in what they do. And that's why you feel safe to an extent to say, oh, I can be saving money there, even though people do say don't put all your egg in one basket, right? Because anything can happen. Even a lot of us, we have more than one bank account. So in terms of maybe one is down, another one will work. Imagine if you have all your money in one account and like, don't let me mention names. I would have mentioned assets, but I've said it already. Because if you are not careful, those guys, they will make, if you are not careful, those guys, they can make it to wash plates. Like, they will make it to wash plates. So these are one of those things that we are talking about. When you build your products, follow these security policies, these rules, this regulation, so that you can have peace of mind. You'll be able to partner with anybody, and people can even vouch for your product and say, yeah, these people, I can work with them. You can trust them. You can put your information here. You can do this, you can do that. So that is one of the importance of compliance. So we have reputation damage. Just imagine this age of social media. If anything happens. Yesterday, there was crowd strike, right? Look at the moment the news got to the internet. Look at where it has got into. That's what it is. If anything happens like this, before you know it, even if it's inside this room, forget it. Before you get to the entrance of this auditorium, you would have seen it on the internet that this and this happened, and that would lead to what? Tarnish the image of your brand, and you don't want that. So that's why we want to ensure that we need to stay compliant. So we also have competitive advantage. When it comes to this, it's just like partner with confidence. It gives your brand that edge. You are not the only one building that same product. Look at PiggyVest today. They are not the only one managing people's finance, investment, and the likes. But people still choose them. People still trust them like, okay, yes, these guys, they've been doing this for a while. I've seen them. This is how they operate. They have a usable product. They have a very nice interface, user experience, and all of these things. And my information, at least, if we should count the number of times we would have heard anything about something happening around PiggyVest, it's quite low, to be honest. I remember one time, I can't remember the name of this person. She's a popular person. I think she said something happened. Her money was moved somehow, about 2 years ago or something. I saw she came to Twitter, tweeted about all of these things. But how often do we see these things happen? Unlike some product that they are just ready to ship and get to the market. Do you get? So these are some of the edges that compliance will give you as a product, and you have that peace of mind to partner with anybody and also be able to compete in the market because you are not the only one in that space. This fintech space, before you know it, another person is out again. There's another app. It's quick to bootstrap the idea, code it, and launch. Do you get? But how well can you even stay within that ecosystem? So these are the things that will give you that edge ahead of others. So let's look at some of the best practices that we as engineers, most especially back-end guys, that we need to adopt, because it's not just about writing those codes. Like, that's not where it ends. Once it gets to the server like this, like I said earlier, there is one guy waiting to explore what you have pushed to production. A friend of mine, I think about a few days ago, he was doing something around this MTN app. He was able to hack into it, and he can see whatever you and I can do. So he reported it to them because he's a good guy. So he reported it to them immediately, and I think they fixed it, I think probably a day after or so. So these are the things that, if you are lucky, you will get to someone good that can even report this vulnerability, because you can't keep check of all of these things all alone by yourself. If that product does not leak down your laptop, you will think, yes, you have built something massive and nothing is, no shaking, right? Do you get? But when it gets to the outside world, you will see someone that will be trying to break that product in every possible way. And that's why whatever you are doing, need to be sure that, yes, I am following the best practices to the best of my knowledge. It's not as if following them means that you are immune to all of these things. It doesn't guarantee that, but at least, like I said earlier, give that guy some time to sweat. Just like passwords, make sure your passwords are strong. Don't use the same password across all systems. Do you get? Because if somebody can get your password for one of your accounts, they can easily access all your accounts and do whatever they want to do with it. So these are the things that we need to do. So first one there, we have data encryption. So any data you are transporting, make sure that it is encrypted. Some people, they probably push their data through HTTP alone. At least make it HTTPS. Let it be secure. Like whatever you are transmitting over the internet is at least secured enough to some level. There are some banks that will not allow you to connect directly to their server until your IP is whitelisted, or there is something we call site-to-site tunneling, whereby they will configure your exchange of keys, IP security keys, and all of those things like that. So they configure it so that server, they are sure or they are confident enough that this server, I'm authorizing you to be able to access my own server, not just everybody coming to it and be able to do anything with it. Security patches and updates. Review your APIs time to time. Carry out your penetration testing within, and push fixes and updates. JavaScript guys, we use a lot of libraries, this and that and that and all of those things. Make sure you review all these third-party libraries that you had into your, it's easy to do npm install, blah, 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 and that guy has put it in your node modules, and yes, everything is going on. But if you don't go back and review what they do, you won't know when there is a problem, or you won't know when you are supposed to do an upgrade to all of these libraries you are using. So you need to ensure that you do this time to time. So implement authentication and authorization. If you are giving out an API, like a public-facing API, for instance, don't just make it available. Generate keys for your users, for your clients to be able to use this. Then also provide a mechanism for them to be able to revoke that key or regenerate, just like what Paystack does too. If you go to the app dashboard, you can regenerate any of your secret keys in case of it getting compromised, getting to someone else, and you feel like you are not safe again. Regenerate immediately. These are the essence of, once you implement this authorization, the APIs is not available to just anybody, except the keys or the credentials, they get compromised. So that's when it's available to someone else to be able to make use of it. And anytime you notice anything like this, regenerate. That's the best thing you have to do, so that you block that guy from using your credentials. So log, analyze your API activity. This is very crucial, and I'll map it with utilizing of API gateways. When it comes to building API, it's important to build it and let it go through an API gateway. Why? It is easy to enforce all your security policies at once. Then it affects all your APIs within. Do you get? So that's the essence of you utilizing API gateways, and logging is very easy from that point, because all requests to come through one entry point, and that way you can log this activity straight away. then you are fine that at least when you carry out your audit, you'll be sure that whatever activity or whatever attempt is coming in is being logged, and you can review within and apply fixes where necessary. So we have track regulatory changes. These bodies that we mentioned earlier, GDPR, PCI DSS, review their regulatory information so that you are sure that, okay, time to time, I am staying updated, I am compliant. Do you get? So if you don't do all of these things, probably when the last time they audit your product, maybe in 2023, by 2024, things have changed. Look at these guys, Laravel, for instance. When they introduced the Laravel version 11, they had to increase the encryption of the keys. From what the previous algorithm that they were using, they have to move away from that because they realized that the rate at which you can decompose that key has now gotten to a level that people are now very used to it. So they have to move on to another algorithm. So these are the things that you need to review. Security awareness training. This is for companies largely. We have back-end engineers. We are all staff of one company or the other. Our companies should ensure that at least they probably send us to webinars, conferences like this, where you get to meet with industry experts and talk about security issues and all of this, and how you can fix them. It's not just about building. We need to know what is going on around. What is the next that security issue that is happening? So like this guide, I normally use it in some of my repositories, snike.io. It reviews your code base, review all of these things, and give you reports. Just like Dependabot 2 on GitHub. If you activate it, if there is any known issue in any of your packages or libraries in any of your repositories, it reports it for you. Sometimes it even makes a pull request for you that, okay, do you want, so you can review it and merge it into your code base. So you don't have to do all of these things all by yourself in this modern era that we are. We have all of these things being automated. So I have a course recommendation for us in case you want to look into API security, fundamentals, PCI compliance. These are free courses. You can go to API Sec University. So we see a lot of courses there around APIs that you can take, and just to stay abreast of what is going on in the ecosystem. So this will take me to the end of my, sorry, I think we are taking it, right? So this will take me to the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, please.
API Conference, Elevating API Literacy.